everyone, I'm Ayşe Gülistan and I'll be your host for our Invest in Turkey talks. In this series, we'll talk about Turkey's investment landscape and the latest developments from the field. I'll be joined by leading figures from the investment world, including entrepreneurs and investors themselves, and they'll be giving us their own outlook on what the ecosystem has to offer. Today I'm here with Barış Özistek. Barış, welcome to the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here. How are you?
Very well, thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you. Barış Özistek is a founding member and current CEO of Boğaziçi Ventures. However, we know him from his extensive experience in the gaming sector, having co-founded Starters Hub and acted as the chairman of Netmarble EMEA. In fact, please correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I'm concerned, you were the first person in Turkey to sell a gaming company. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. We had established Joy Game on 2009 and we sold the company to Netmarble on 2013.
Wow, okay, brilliant. Before we start talking about Boğaziçi Ventures and the gaming and startup ecosystem in Turkey in general, I want to ask you about your previous experiences. Netmarble is known to be one of the top mobile game companies globally and currently has 7 offices overseas. What inspired you to take on the role of CEO at Netmarble EMEA, and what kind of role does the company play in the gaming sector here in Turkey?
Well, when we sold the company to Netmarble on 2013, I had promised to stay in the company for the next 2 years. So that's how everything started. But then everything worked very well. There was a huge know-how transfer from Netmarble, working with the Korean gaming giant and Korean people, Korean colleagues. It was really impressive. It was a huge experience. So I decided to stay more from 2013 to 20. First, I stayed as a CEO, then the chairman of Netmarble in the region. So it was really an experience. By the way, today in Turkey, there's a huge know-how in gaming. But if you go 10 years back, it was totally different. So everything we learned from Netmarble, it was super important, super valuable. And many people working at Joy Game at these times, now they have spread in the industry, and I believe Netmarble created a huge impact in the ecosystem. It created a huge know-how transfer.
That actually brings me on to my following question. Obviously, you also founded Starters Hub in 2014, and you were one of the co-founders and acted on that for a long time. In 2014, entrepreneurship was not what it is now. It was, kind of seen as more risky, I guess, more unconventional. Today, we're starting to slowly get used to the idea of, for example, not conventionally going to university, but, starting, a startup. So were there any barriers you faced back then that you can't dream of facing today?
Of course. I mean, if we compare 10 years ago, the market was totally different. But I'm saying seriously, it was totally different. In Turkey, we had a significant mind shift. 10 years ago, first of all, families, they didn't care about startups. They didn't care about entrepreneurship. They more care about for their kids to work at a bank, at a construction company, at a holding company. So we established Starters Hub at such a time, at such a period. Starters Hub was one of the first, I can even say maybe the first accelerator, which was giving lots of benefits, accommodation, mentorship, plus money. That's important because till Starters Hub, most of the accelerators in the country, they were offering accommodation and mentorship, but no money. So Starters Hub played an important role to create that mind shift. We established Starters Hub in the heart of Istanbul, in the best location. So we attracted the C-levels, the chairmen, the bosses of the top companies, multinational companies. So they were the ones who gave mentorship to the startups. So I believe it was a significant impact.
Barış, you mentioned that Starters Hub was different from the other accelerators at the time. Can you tell me what did you face with in the sector, or what happened that led you to think that you had to be different from the others? What was the most important thing that you think differentiated you from the other accelerators?
When we establish a startup, or when we decide to invest, we are looking for one single thing, first of all. If a startup is solving a significant problem or not. So it is the same when you establish a fund, investment company, whatever you name it. So Starters Hub also itself is a startup. So it had to solve a problem, a significant problem in the market to be successful. So we thought in that way, and what we have seen, most of the accelerators in the market, they were trying to support startups, they were trying to invest startups, but the location of the accelerators were not in the ideal locations. They couldn't attract the top mentors, and they couldn't find enough fund to invest into the startup. So we thought if we solve that problem, so one problem, mentorship, second, money, and third, location, because you need to be in the center to create the ecosystem. If we can solve these problems, we could attract the best of the best startups, the best talents, and it would create a significant impact, and we would see the financial results, and it happened.
Now, Barış, obviously these previous experiences have no doubt fed into the establishment of Boğaziçi Ventures, and as of 2023, Boğaziçi Ventures has made early stage investments in 10 companies, totaling approximately 100 million Turkish lira. And there are over 50 companies in your investment portfolio. Can you tell us a bit about Boğaziçi Ventures? What inspired its creation and what is its core mission?
Well, Boğaziçi Ventures is focused to investing only disruptive innovation. So our philosophy, first, the startup we are investing should have a significant technology, should be focusing on disruption. That is our first criteria. Second, the startup should be established in Turkey and should have the vision, capability to go to the global. And in the market, at the time we established Boğaziçi Ventures, the largest opportunity was the early stage startup ecosystem. This ecosystem is one of the most successful, most strong ecosystems in the world. I'm not exaggerating in terms of number of startups and the capability and the number of talents and the ambition of the entrepreneurs. This is one of the most promising ecosystems.
In terms of entrepreneurship and technology, AI-driven technology especially, I feel like Turkey is one of the leading in the race as well, and we can see that from the work that we do as the investment office. Obviously, you mentioned that there are certain boxes that startups need to tick to be able to get the funding itself, but what would you say in general are the key factors that startups need to attract venture capital? And for me, it's always, there might be a good idea that deserves that funding, but have you ever had a certain time where you think, these guys are doing okay, but they don't tick all the boxes? You know, how do you balance that? How do you balance the reality and the feeling that a startup might be successful?
Well, to be honest, always lots of boxes are empty. They don't tick every box. And we are not checking if they are ticking every box or not. But we are checking a couple of major topics. First of all, if the entrepreneur, if the startup is fully data-oriented or not. If they are not data-oriented, we are not in. That's very clear for us. If they are not solving a significant problem which can scale globally, again, we are not in, because we are not interested in local problems. They should go to global. And we are looking for the entrepreneurs, the startup is really aware of if this business can scale enough. If they are really dreaming to be a unicorn. Of course, every company cannot be a unicorn. That's not important. But their vision, their ultimate goal is to be scaling. That means growth. And they should be doing this with disruptive innovation. They should not be focusing on lifestyle businesses. The company we are investing in should have dream to build a unicorn, multi-billion-dollar company. Of course, every dream cannot come true, but when the dream comes true, we should find the big hits. We should find the unicorns, and the entrepreneurs should should be aware of that need. They should have that passion. They should have the vision. They should have the technology. They should focus on disruptive innovation, and their business should have the opportunity to go global, to scale to global. That is our point.
And you mentioned disruptive technology, and you want the startup to be able to solve a problem using this kind of technology. Can you give me an example of what kind of problem, and what is that disruptive technology?
Yeah, when we say disruptive technology, for example, electrical vehicle and mobility can be a disruptive technology. If you are doing first time ever in the world, it is a disruptive technology. But it's not necessarily, you don't need necessarily that much disruptive technology. You can also have, let's say in gaming, what is disruptive? Let's say a studio in Korea develops an mid-core game with 100 people. A studio in Turkey develops the same game with 30 people. That's also disruptive. Mm-hmm. If you find a way to develop the same quality, same content with fewer people, maybe you are using AI, you have optimized your resources, you have optimized your workflow. This is also super disruptive because your competitor is generating the content with $10 million budget. You are developing the content with $3 million. So there are lots of disruptive areas. This is not only creating a new technology. This is not only an R&D issue. This is finding the ways to beat your competitors.
Okay. And how important is it for a startup to expand internationally? Does every startup really have to be global?
For us, yes. Because I'm talking for Turkish startups. We are in a market which is good enough to establish, big enough to establish a business. But on the other side, it's very difficult to build a unicorn in this market. If you are not located in Japan or United States or in China, most of the markets in the world, they are not ideal to build unicorns, to build decacorns. That's why when you establish a startup here in Turkey, very ideal market, because you can make your product perfect, and you have enough market size to test your product, to build your product. But then to build a multi-billion-dollar company, you should go to global. That's for sure. Of course, there are a couple of examples, but that is the common approach. On the other side, what they need, of course, they need funding. Of course, they need government incentives, government support. They need talent in the market, because you are growing. You need to find talented people which can provide service globally. But apart from that, I believe you need passion. Mm-hmm. Because here the critical part, when your company reaches, let's say your company reaches $50 million valuation, and you own half of the company, it's big money. If you sell the company at $50 million, the entrepreneur puts $25 million into his pocket, and it's big money. It's big money for everyone. So this startup needs to have passion inside to go global, to build a unicorn, to take risk. That's very important. By the way, what we are doing to support that, apart from the funding, we also have a secondary investment fund. Secondary investment fund purchases stocks from the founders. So it's not investing directly to the company, it's purchasing stocks from the founders. So that means at a certain valuation, they can make mini exits. They can enjoy earning some money, but still they have the majority and keep building their company.
So you obviously mentioned that they need government support, and in that one of the support mechanisms that they need is from the government. And in the State of Turkish Gaming Ecosystem report published by the Investment Office, which our listeners can read online on the Invest in Turkey website, you underline how the government has prioritised the gaming sector and how this has given the sector many advantages. Can you tell us a bit about what these advantages have been over the years?
Well, I believe I can sincerely say that this is the best advantage globally at the government levels. First of all, there is a huge incentive, huge support for the marketing of the games and applications. Whatever a startup spends to scale globally, government covers some part of the costs. On top of it, there is a huge tax advantage. The gaming companies, app companies, indeed most of the tech companies, that's a tax haven. In Turkey, you don't pay tax. You don't pay corporate tax. You don't pay tax over the employee salaries. You don't pay VAT. And on top of it, you got incentive from the government. Let's say today, you are a startup of 10, 12 people. You are publishing games globally. 5 people's salaries are paid by the government. So that means almost half of your company salaries are paid for by the government. I can say that is unique in the global ecosystem.
Now, along with these advantages that you mentioned, and obviously you have experience in other countries as well that is going to allow you to make a fair comparison, where does Turkey stand globally in terms of the gaming sector?
Turkey right now is one of the most powerful development ecosystem in the world in terms of mobile gaming. I can clearly say we are one of the top 5 in terms of the number of game companies, number of game developers and talented people. We are at top 5. Now we are competing with US, China, Korea, Japan, and Turkey. This is the we can call this is the top 5. You can even prove that. You can also see this from the gaming events happening in Turkey. Like 10 years ago, not even one single global gaming event was in Turkey. Right now, almost every month there is a huge, large game event in Turkey, and the global ecosystem is coming to here because this is one of the biggest development hubs. Still, we have lots of place to go because we are very powerful in mobile gaming, but on the PC and console gaming, still we are developing. But it's a journey. These mobile game studios, some of them will convert to be a PC and console game studio, and we will also grow our muscles at that vertical as well.
Thank you, Barış. And this leads me to my final question. You obviously, as somebody that invests in startups already, somebody that's got VC background, what advice would you give to international investors looking to invest in Turkish startups?
Well, first of all, they should know about the market. They should understand the culture, they should understand the opportunity here, and they should see the market with their own eyes. We see lots of investors coming to Turkey the first time and they are surprised because what they hear outside is totally different when they come and see here inside. When they meet with the startups, meet with the companies, meet with the venture capitals and see the ecosystem, what's happening here. So first of all, my first advice, I invite them to come to Turkey, spend time here. They should not just enjoy a couple of days. They should really stay here, participate the events, talk with the people, different ecosystem partners. And first, they should understand the market. Then they will see this is a market full of opportunities. In addition to that, we got lots of questions from the global investors about the fund management, asset management market in Turkey. So I can clearly say we have a fully regulated asset management market, and our regulations are fully in line with the European Union laws. So the global investors, the strategic investors, and also funds of funds can come and comfortably, safely invest into the Turkish domiciled funds, which is much easier to as an entry step, as a first step to the market, which is much more easier to come and invest and taste the market. This is not a fully saturated market for the investors, so that is the one of the top opportunity markets globally. On the investor's perspective, we are always looking for the opportunity. We are always looking for the high returns. To reach the high returns, you should find the new blue oceans. For the tech investors, Turkey is a blue ocean.
Brilliant, Barış. Thank you. And that's a wrap for today. In this episode of the Invest in Turkey Talks, with Barış today, we spoke about the gaming sector in Turkey and how VCs pursue startup success in general. And Barış kindly has given a couple of recommendations for global investors that want to invest in Turkish startups. Thank you for being with us today. You can find our podcast on all streaming platforms. And for more updates and information, follow Invest in Turkey on social media. Stay tuned for more episodes where we'll be talking more about investment in Turkey.